If you're thinking about buying a house in the San Francisco Bay Area, it's a really good idea to do your homework first because the Bay Area is a big place, and even cities right next to each other, as many of the cities here in the Bay Area are, can be very different. So even for a lifelong Bay Area native like myself, it's a good idea to do your homework before you do your home search in a new Bay Area city. If you're considering buying a home in the Tri-Valley East Bay area, keep watching. In this video, I'm going to compare two East Bay Tri-Valley cities, Livermore and Pleasanton. And at the end, I'll reveal two things about one of these two cities that no other cities have. Do you know what they are? I'm a Bay Area native. I was born and raised on the peninsula, more commonly known now as the Silicon Valley. Growing up, I only knew of Pleasanton because my family went to the county fair and horse races there every 4th of July. And then one of my best friends moved to Pleasanton when I was in about 4th grade. Back then, it was considered far away. Really far away. We did not know anyone that lived in Pleasanton and commuted to the peninsula. Fortunately for me, my mom and my friend's mom were pretty good about driving us back and forth to visit for long weekends, and we were able to keep in touch. There was no social media and video chat back then. And Livermore, I only knew about Livermore because it was the town we drove through to get to the Delta where my dad kept his boat docked. That, and one time a teenage boy I met tried to convince me that he lived in Livermore and that he was going to be skateboarding home at night. And I remember thinking, oh, good luck with that. Skateboarding from Mountain View to Livermore? I don't think so. So even living here my whole life, the Bay Area is large, and going to another city can be a whole new experience. Location, location, location. Where the heck is the Tri-Valley anyway? First off, let's get oriented. Livermore and Pleasanton are both part of Alameda County. Pleasanton is located right where 680 and 580 meet on the south side of 580. Livermore is just east of Pleasanton along the 580, and it is both on the south and the north side of 580. Livermore is the furthest city east along the 580 that is still considered part of the Bay Area. Pleasanton and Livermore are similar in size, 24 square miles and 26 square miles respectively. As of 2018, Pleasanton had a population of almost 82,000 people and Livermore was just under 90,000 people. It's pretty widely known that the Bay Area is an expensive place to live. But if you're not from the Bay Area, you might not realize that there can be some drastic differences in cost of living from one city to the next. This is something that hasn't changed in all my life of living here. When I was a kid, friends would move away from the peninsula and head south to San Jose or slightly east to Milpitas for more affordable housing. When my friend moved to Pleasanton, it was much less expensive to live in Pleasanton, and large brand new homes were being built, and at the time, which wasn't something I was seeing on the peninsula. So let's take a look at the affordability of Pleasanton versus Livermore today. According to Bay East Association of Realtors, the median household income in Pleasanton is $142,412 versus the median household income in Livermore of $104,223, a difference of more than $38,000 a year. The 10 largest employers in Pleasanton are Kaiser Foundation Hospitals, Safeway, Oracle, Workday, Pleasanton Unified School District, Macy's, Valley Care Medical Center, which is actually now Stanford, Clorox Services, State Fund, FMC, and Thoratech, versus the 10 largest employers in Livermore, which are the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, Valley Care Health System, the Livermore Valley Joint Unified School District, Comcast Cable, Sandia National Lab, Form Factor, Wente Vineyards, the Kaiser Permanente Regional Distribution Center, the City of Livermore, and the Livermore Area Recreational and Parks District. So how does the median home price of a detached single-family home compare between Pleasanton and Livermore? As of this recording, the median sales price for a single-family detached home in Pleasanton was $1,640,000 versus $1,101,250 in Livermore. The property tax rate in Pleasanton is slightly lower than Livermore. It's 1.0873% per each thousand versus 1.0971% in Livermore. But keep in mind that this does not account for any supplemental taxes that are also specific to each city. Diving into that would be for another video. Schools. School ratings often play a big role in housing prices. Even buyers without school-aged children often take how an area schools rate into account when buying a house. Let's see how Pleasanton schools compare to Livermore schools. According to niche.com, with the exception of Pleasanton's alternative high schools, all Pleasanton schools get a grade of A or A+. Livermore schools get a slightly lower grade than Pleasanton, with the low grade being B- going to the district's continuation high school. Livermore has a graduation rate of 95% and average SAT score of 1240 out of 721 people who responded. Pleasanton has a graduation rate of 97% and an average SAT score of 1350 out of 1663 responses. So we don't really know how the SATs play out because we don't know who responded. If you want to dig deeper into school statistics, click the link below for more additional resources. If you're a sports fan, keep in mind that the Tri-Valley isn't home to any professional sports teams. But as part of the Bay Area, baseball fans can cheer on either the Giants or the Oakland A's. Although there's been recent news that the A's are considering leaving the Bay Area, so if you haven't picked a team yet to be a fan of, you might want to just choose the Giants so you're not stuck with a bunch of green hats and shirts in your closet and no games to wear them to. Now, if you're a dedicated football fan, the Bay Area is home to one of the best NFL teams ever. Okay, I'm a lifelong Bay Area native, so to me there is only one great team, and that is the San Francisco 49ers. Even though they're not actually in San Francisco anymore. They now have a new stadium in Santa Clara, which isn't that far to go to attend a home game. Now, if ice hockey is more your speed, then plan for some trips down to San Jose to cheer on the San Jose Sharks. Prefer basketball? Well, you can head over to San Francisco and catch a Golden State Warriors game. If you have kids and are planning ahead for college, or perhaps considering going back to college yourself, you might be wondering what college options are nearby. Livermore has Las Positas Junior College right in town and easily accessible if you live in either Pleasanton or Livermore. If you're looking for a state university, Cal State East Bay, located in Hayward, isn't too far away. There's also San Francisco State and San Jose State. We're also commuting distance to UC Berkeley and UC San Francisco, as well as many other private universities such as Santa Clara University, Stanford University, University of the Pacific, and many others. Okay, so if you move to the Tri-Valley, what are you going to do for entertainment when you're staying close to home? When I moved to Livermore from the Tri-Valley in 2006, I'm not gonna lie, it was an adjustment. I got married in 2005 and my husband humored me by moving into my tiny one-bedroom condo in Mountain View because I did not want to move out of Mountain View. He had a house in Livermore and I decided that we should remodel it, sell it, and then sell my condo and buy a new house in Mountain View. So being the DIYer that I am, and with the help of a very good friend, she and I remodeled his house to get it ready to sell. The only issue was that we were working and we could only work on it on the weekends, so it took us a very long time, an entire year in fact, to get it finished. So think back and remember the housing crash? Well, it was the worst timing ever, so I reluctantly agreed to move into the newly remodeled house and rent out my condo instead. I agreed that I would try this out for just 1 year, and if I didn't like it, we were going back to Mountain View. Well, I adjusted and even came to like it in Livermore. So much so, I didn't even want to move back anymore. I think my biggest adjustment was the dining and entertainment. There just wasn't much of either of those at the time. I was used to a busy downtown with every type of restaurant I could want. Coffee places and watering holes to meet up with friends, and all of which were open late into the night. There was not much of that in Livermore at the time, except for a few places. Every time we went out, we would go out of town. I remember being really bored one evening and decided to go buy a book so I could have something to read. Well, I couldn't even find a bookstore in town. I ended up in the book department at Target, and you know how that's slim pickings as far as books go. Let me assure you, a lot has changed in Livermore and Pleasanton since I moved here. A lot. Both Pleasanton and Livermore have great downtowns now. Livermore feels more active once the sun goes down than Pleasanton. Not to say there aren't places in downtown Pleasanton that you can go after dark. It just reminds me a little bit of downtown Los Altos, where a lot of businesses close early. Downtown Livermore also has 2 movie theaters, one older one called The Vine, located in the western side of downtown, and a newer, larger 13-screen cinema located on the eastern end of downtown. Pleasanton doesn't have a movie theater downtown or anywhere in the city, as a matter of fact. So if you live in Pleasanton and you want to go out and see a movie on the big screen, you'll need to head to theaters in Livermore or in Dublin. Both Livermore and Pleasanton have theaters for live performances downtown. Some professional shows come through these theaters, as well as community shows, children's theaters, and musical concerts. And I also have to mention that Wente Winery has a fantastic concert venue as well, and great seasonal outdoor concert series where artists like Rick Springfield, The Tenors, Styx, The Temptations, REO Speedwagon, Boz Sax, and the Doobie Brothers, just to name a few, come out to perform. And if you're wondering what your shopping options are, here's the rundown. Both Livermore and Pleasanton have the usual stores like Target, Walmart, Safeway, Nob Hill, Trader Joe's, and things like that. Where they're different is Pleasanton is home to Stoneridge Mall, a traditional indoor shopping mall with large anchor stores like Macy's and Nordstrom's. Here you'll also find an Apple store, Sephora, and the usual food court dining options like Wetzel's Pretzels and hot dog on a stick. Fun fact, I used to be a hot dog on a stick girl. People living in Livermore looking for an indoor mall usually head to Pleasanton. However, Livermore is not lacking in shopping options by any means. In fact, Livermore is home to the very poorly renamed San Francisco Premium Outlets. The outlet mall is actually located in Livermore. The Premium Outlets is home to over 180 brand name designer outlet stores, and the building hasn't stopped yet. The mall is still expanding, and with additional shopping centers located just across the street, it's easy to make a whole day of shopping out of it and still not see every store. Before the outlet mall opened, I often went to Stoneridge Mall in Pleasanton to do my shopping. Now, unless I need to go to Apple or I really want a cheesecake from the Cheesecake Factory, I do most of my shopping at the outlet mall right here in Livermore. It's just closer, and it feels like I'm getting a deal, I don't know, because it has the name outlet in the title. When looking for a new place to live, many buyers want to know how much crime is in the area. Let's take a look at neighborhoodscout.com to see how Livermore and Pleasanton compare when it comes to crime. According to neighborhoodscout.com, Pleasanton has a crime index of 23, 100 being the safest. That means it's safer than 23% of US cities. Looking over at Livermore, neighborhoodscout.com gives Livermore a crime index of 27. Again, 100 being the safest, meaning that Livermore is safer than 27% of the US cities. So according to the data provided on Neighborhood Scout, Livermore rates slightly safer than Pleasanton. Looking at data from citydata.com from 2019, the crime rate in Livermore was 149 and Pleasanton was lower at 130. If you like the outdoors, Livermore and Pleasanton both have some great recreation areas close by. There are many areas where you can take hikes along right past goats and cows and other wildlife. If you're out on the trails on a hot spring day or anytime in the summer months, you need to keep an eye out for snakes. It's not uncommon to come across some rattlesnakes sunning themselves on the path. Be especially careful with small children and dogs, and don't let them get into the tall grass where snakes could be hiding. Now, you're not going to see the snakes in the neighborhood that I'm aware of, but keep in mind, on the trails, you might see them. If you're looking for a place with water, Shadow Cliffs Regional Recreation Area is in Pleasanton, right at the border of Livermore. So it's easily accessible by both Livermore and Pleasanton. There's also Del Val Lake at Del Val Regional Park, and you can enjoy the day at the lake and come close to home, or bring your camping gear and stay a few nights. And one thing that Livermore has and no other city in the entire Bay Area has is an expansive wine country and vast number of wineries to visit. I know that most people think of Napa when they think about wineries, but us Livermoreans, Livermorons, Livermore people, whatever we like to call ourselves now, we have a saying. Napa is for auto parts, Livermore is for wine. Livermore is home to more than 45 wineries. If you like wine, there is nothing like having wineries and tasting rooms just minutes from your home. If you're coming for a visit, be sure to check out the Livermore Valley Wine Country Itinerary Planner to map out your wine tasting day. I'll put a link in the description below. Here's something you might not know. In 2012, the International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry officially approved Livermorium as the name for element 116. The name Livermorium, atomic symbol LV, was chosen to honor Livermore National Lab and the city of Livermore. You'll find it located in the bottom right corner of the periodic table of elements. So at the beginning of this video, I said that there were two things one of these cities had that no other city can stake claim to. Do you know which one it is? It's Livermore. And the two things are, it's California's oldest wine region, the only city with the element 116 named after it. In fact, there are only two cities in the entire United States that have an element named after them. The other one is also in the Bay Area. It's Berkeley with element 97. So leave me a comment below and tell me, if you're gonna pick one of these two cities to move to right now, which one would you choose and why? And if there is another Bay Area city you'd like me to do a comparison video on, let me know that as well in the comments below. If you're thinking of moving to or from the Tri-Valley or anywhere in the Bay Area and want more information on buying or selling a home, I can help you. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, however you want to connect. If you're thinking about making a move, I'm here to help you make it easy. I'm Maria Diora, Tri-Valley Realtor with eXp Realty. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. And I'll see you in the next video.